Hey my friends, so today we're going to talk about how to write literature review. They are long, frustrating to write, but today I am going to give you 5 things, 5 steps that you can use to structure your literature review process, and let's talk about that. So if you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification. I'm going to talk about all things PhD careers, getting a PhD, all the tips and tricks that I learned to finish within 3 years, write my literature review, write the thesis, everything. So let's talk about the literature review. So step 1 of writing a literature review, you need to be absolutely crystal clear on your why. Like, why are you actually doing this research? Because that's fundamentals that will form your literature review. You need to make sure that you speak with your supervisor as well. So a lot of times literature review and beginning of a kind of project is the brainchild of an academic supervisor, and invite you on as a PhD student, or you apply and then you do their work and explore their ideas while also incorporating your own. So the one thing I will say is that you have to make sure with your supervisor you understand exactly what's going on in their mind. So step 1 here is work out your research question. Work out your why. Why are you doing a PhD? Why are you writing a literature review? Are you searching for? Because being absolutely crystal clear on these things will mean that when you come to write, you will just know exactly what does answer the question and what's not. Step 2 is when is I really start to think about the topics that I need to begin together to answer that question. There is a nice way to get an idea of what sort of topics you need is look at other dissertations in a similar field. So I went away and I found a lot of stuff from Europe, a lot of theses from Europe, and I looked at and went well how the splitting up the literature review, the introduction to the theses, and maybe I can use that to guide uh, what to do with my thesis. So a lot of the time research, especially cutting edge research, happens at the boundaries of the interfaces of subjects and topics, and you need to explore the appropriate parts of each topic so that you can answer your research question. And you don't need to do everything in detail, but is one way to work out, if my research question, and you don't need to do everything in detail, but that is one way to work out. The way isn't set in stone yet, but what like initially thinking about how am I going to split things up, how I am going to organize my tasks really, I guess is the main point. How are my tasks going to come together in the literature review? And this isn't like to sit in stone yet, but it's a place for you to start, because the next step is going on, and actually taking those large topics and doing your searches. The step 3 is like you've got your topics and all that sorts of stuff. You've got to start to think, what do I actually need to search for? So Google Scholar by far is the best. I just get onto Google Scholar and I tap in my subject and look up that. I look at advances in my topics and I just started grouping research themes, questions, outcomes, results that kind of sit under that large theme. And the thing about this is you are going to generate An absolute bucket load of papers, of theses, and other dissertation that are written, so you need a way to organize it. And it's at this point that you really need to work out for you what is the best way to organize your literature. There's a lot of approaches for me. I cannot focus and read on a computer, so I literally print out every research paper that I wanted to read and I found interesting, and I used to read them on the commute to work, on the train, or if I had a spare uh, evening or spare couple of hours, then I I had them in my bag, and I could get them out and read them. And what I did then is, on the back of the first page, I wrote out the main finding. Who did it, what they found, any challenges, if there was any gaps in research, and also if there is a particular note, because each research paper needs to have something novel, something new about it. So I made sure that I tried to identify each one of these things, and I just listed them on the back of the first page. And then I got a stack of 5 or 6 of them. I went to Excel and I just put in that detail. I had like reference, authors, topic area, date of publication, and then I just had a couple of notes. This help you go Control F in Excel, and you can find the papers that you want to find. For the reference organization, you can use Zotero, is what I use to organize all my stuff, and also is a way to organize references. The Excel notes will be the key to write your thesis, and that's almost the next part of this process. So let's talk about step 4. Step 4 doesn't happen for quite a while, because step number 4 is after you've searched the literature, and now the great thing is your brain is designed to pick up patterns, and in this case you're picking up patterns in the literature that you're reading. You start letting your brain make these connections and find overlapping topics and areas, and just let your brain relax and read stuff. Then you start formulating your own topics and seeing the limits of different papers. Is go back to your structure for your literature review. It probably needs some tweaking, but the next thing you can do then is going under each topic that you may not have, and other subheadings that are guided by what you've learned by reading the literature and by synthesizing the results. So take a step back and let your mind make connections, and then put the subheadings to these topics, that when you will be able to have a structure that you can then just put words under. But until you've got that structure, you're going to be trying to do structure and words at the same time, and potentially you're just going to end up confusing yourself. So make sure that you just spend a bit of time after you've read the literature, after you've read 50 to 60 papers in total. Just make sure that structure that you're about to write is there, because that will make your writing process so much easier. And now, with the last step, the step number 5, let's talk about writing the words. There's no two ways about it. Writing can be a massive pain in the neck. Writing is challenging. Writing, sitting down and distracted for hours at a time to write. So design a day that gets you to your results. For me, that is at least 3 hours or so worth of writing every single day, split up into an hour and a half, an hour and a half, an hour and a half. And you just have to write. So you do that by formulating paragraphs in terms of this, what someone's found. This is how it fits, and this is how it relates to my research question. That's it, the writing process. Finally, send your research to your supervisor to look over your literature review and give you feedback. That is essentially how to write the literature review. It's a combination of hard work and mental gymnastics where you're always trying to formulate new ideas, and this is warm up act to what your PhD thesis and your PhD research will be. So let me know if you have any question or any suggestions in the comments, what you would add to those 5 steps, or if there is anything that you've picked up while writing your literature review that you'd like to share with other people, and I shall see you in the next video.